it's very different for a goalkeeper as well, because you have to wait for your opportunity. Only one goalkeeper can play at a time, and that obviously that's harder sometimes than anything, because sometimes you work really hard and you still don't get an opportunity. But that's part and parcel of being a goalkeeper, that you have to fight for your place, and when you do get it, you have to try and keep it.
The VAR Show. The one place for your weekly football update.
Hola, very warm welcome to the VAR show. The show which talks about all the various major football leagues in detail. Today we are going to continue with interviews, and that's what we have been doing for the past I don't know how many months. Okay, so we'll continue. And whom do we have today? We have Mr. Mark Hout with us. So Mark has had a very distinguished playing career and is still playing, by the way. So he has played for the likes of Blackpool, Aberdeen, St Mirren, Sheffield United, to name a few. So without wasting much time, I would like to thank Mark for coming on the show. Thank you and welcome to the show. And I would like to begin by asking you, how are you and what are you doing these days?
Thanks for having me on. I'm very well, thank you. Just keeping fit, waiting for the right club to sign for. Basically, I've spoke to quite a few teams at the moment, and still looking to sign for a new team, wherever that may be. I've spoken to quite a few clubs around the world, actually. So just waiting for the right opportunity for me, really.
Definitely, like currently you're a free agent, and like you said, you spoke for to a lot of clubs, and you're looking for a next club. But you have also played for quite a number of clubs in the past, and very big profile clubs. Like, how is your career panned out? Like, if you look back, how do you look back at your career till now?
Obviously, I'm very proud of my career. I've been lucky with some of the good teams that I've played for, but and then when I've been there, I've had some bad injuries as well, which has hampered my career a little bit. So maybe haven't played as many games as I would have liked to, but yeah, obviously it's a privilege to be a professional footballer, and I love what I do.
Of course, and you're like, I just had a question from your answer, and like you said, like you were unlucky with some injuries. So, like as a professional players, you have to continuously push on, even if you have injuries. How do you get your mind and how do you prepare your mindset after an injury?
It's pretty simple, really. You just want to get back playing, and the fastest way to do that is by doing the rehabilitation properly, and making yourself as fit as you can and as strong as you can, and from that it keeps you hungry, because you're desperate to play again. You hate being injured, and obviously we all want to play as professional footballers, so being injured is a horrible part of it, but you have to work hard enough to get back fit.
So, like if you are getting some recurring injuries, do you sometimes, or did you ever have the thought of giving up?
No, never. I don't want to retire ever. So yeah, just keep pushing on. Obviously, you get very disappointed sometimes, and like I said to you, I've been very unlucky with some of them, and freak incidents have injured me and ruled me out for a long time. And I've worked hard to make sure that my body is in the best condition it can be to try and keep going.
Of course, and like you have been around quite a few clubs, like I mentioned, in your career, and you're also looking for the next one. As a goalkeeper, like how difficult is it, adjusting quickly in different environments that you go to?
Yeah, it's obviously very different. It's very different for a goalkeeper as well, because you have to wait for your opportunity. Only one goalkeeper can play at a time, and that's harder sometimes than anything, because sometimes you work really hard and you still don't get an opportunity. But that's part and parcel of being a goalkeeper, that you have to fight for your place, and when you do get it, you have to try and keep it.
Of course, and like I just wanted to ask you, like, when suppose you have worked a lot, worked very hard, and probably you are not getting a chance because your other colleague is also has worked very hard, and there's a consistency that he brings to your team because you're out. How much does it frustrate you? Because you're also putting in a lot of effort.
Yeah, obviously it is frustrating at times, but that is the job at the end of the day, and I found that a lot of times, and I found myself playing when other goalkeepers are working hard as well, and it works both ways. That you end up working really closely with the other goalkeepers, even though that you're rivals for that position. And that doesn't happen really with the outfielders, because they all know that they could come off the bench or they could play in a slightly different position to get them back in the team. And I think that with a goalkeeper, it's so specialised that you kind of just get used to that idea that you work together and you work really hard, and it is just a case of waiting for an opportunity for a manager to change it, or for, unfortunately, for an injury.
Of course, and I just wanted to ask you this, and when you go to a new team, is there a cold shoulder from the goalkeeper which is already present because he knows that you have come to take his place? Or even if in your case, suppose you are in a team and if the team bought some other goalkeeper, were you worried, or did you give a cold shoulder, or was it very normal?
It's normal. It's so strange because you do work together every day. You end up being quite close to them because every day in training you work isolated with them and a goalkeeper coach. So you end up having a really good relationship with them. But on a Saturday is when you know that you're frustrated because you're not picked or they're not picked. And although that you try and support each other as much as you can, you still want to get back in the team. And I think it all comes from your own relationship with each other, and also the manager's relationship with his goalkeepers. A lot of goalkeepers, we like just a bit of honesty, and the managers will tell us if we're doing well, if we're not doing well, or if we're going to stay in the team or be out. It all comes from a manager's, his whole perception of and his demeanour of how he tells you.
Of course, and you have played under many managers who would have different philosophies, maybe playing out from the back, from the goalkeeper, or just having the keeper to save shots. How do you adjust yourself? Because probably when you would have come to the youth academy back then, the system of I'm just guessing this, I don't know, you can correct me if I'm wrong, the system of playing out from the back probably wasn't there as much as how prominent it is now. How do you adjust it as a goalkeeper?
Yeah, obviously I'm quite fortunate that I came through at Arsenal where the philosophy was to play out from the back, and then I went up to Scotland and learnt that that wasn't the case, that you just kick it as far as you can and turn the team around. So I've managed to, when I was young and even up till now, I know both sides of the game. But it's quite easy to change the way you play because the manager picks the team, and if you don't do what he tells you to, you won't play. So if he's telling you to play out from the back, you play out from the back, even though you don't really want to sometimes. And then also I've had managers tell me never play out from the back and kick it miles and miles as far as you can. So then you just do that as well. You just adjust. It's quite quickly that happens, and you know that if you're doing what he's telling you to or asking you to, that you're more likely to stay in the team, and that obviously benefits you and it benefits the whole results of a game.
Definitely. And the reason I asked you is because there's at least in the media that sample set is that these keepers cannot play out from the back and these keepers are good at playing out from the back. I wanted to ask you, is it just a mentality thing, or is it because, or do some keepers or some coaches do not train that aspect of the game? What is it?
Yeah, that all depends on the goalkeeper. Some goalkeepers are more naturally gifted with their feet and to play out from the back, so it does suit some keepers a lot more. And then other keepers, we've all got strengths and weaknesses. So some keepers, their strengths might not be with their feet. It might be their shot stopping or coming for crosses and dominating. So it all just depends on each goalkeeper as an individual, what their strengths are. And it does happen where maybe your strength isn't to play out from the back, but the manager wants you to. And that's how you find yourself out of a team. And stuff like that is how you are in a team or out of a team, really. And it all depends on a manager, really. Everything does.
But I just had this weird doubt. Okay, it might be a very silly doubt, but isn't passing a very basic aspect of playing football?
Of course, yeah. So then it becomes a mental thing, like you said, that mentally, if you're being told to do it, you have to do it. So it should be quite a basic thing. And I think a lot of goalkeepers, we fall into a trap of a lot of teams want you to play out from the back against them so that they can try and nick the ball off you and take it off you. Where if you've got the confidence to just carry on and do what you're doing and mentally you're prepared to take risks and calculated risks, it will work. But again, it does come down to an individual. Some are more confident at doing it, like Man City's goalkeeper Ederson is unbelievable at doing it, and he's got both attributes where he can kick the ball so far that teams don't really want to put him under pressure, because if they do press him, he can kick it in behind them and then they're in trouble. So you have a lot of goalkeepers have a lot of different strengths, and obviously, like you said, playing out from the back's massively important now.
Of course, and I just wanted to ask you on a personal note, from 1 being the lowest to 3 being the highest, how much do you take risks personally?
How much do I what, sorry?
If you had to rate yourself on how much risk you take playing out from the back, from 1 to 3, 1 being the lowest and 3 being the highest, how much risk do you take?
Probably about 2.5. I feel I'm quite confident with my feet, and I like to do to play out from the back, and I like to think of myself as quite a counter-attacking goalkeeper, so that when I get the ball, I like to distribute it quite quickly and try and get us to play on the front foot, whoever I'm playing for. So me playing out from the back is obviously massively important for myself, and I also I'm quite well known for doing a Cruyff turn in a game and that, and obviously that's quite a risky thing for a goalkeeper, but it's something that I've always done and always enjoyed doing.
Of course, I just wanted to ask you, I want to know, what do you, are you scared or are you so confident that you'll pull it off, the Cruyff turn, when you do it?
Yeah, I'm confident. It's all about timing when a goalkeeper does it, and normally it's because a striker is closing him down at such speed that if he tries to kick it, they can intercept it or block it, that their momentum is going past you anyway. So as long as you've got the confidence that they're going to run at full speed past you or try and block the kick, you know that it's possible to do it, but it's just, again, it is all timing and confidence.
Of course, and I'll move back to your career from this technical aspects. And you played in Scotland, for quite a few teams and very big profile. How is the football there? Because generally it is looked down upon, like the Scottish football. How is it in your experience?
Oh, I think it's unbelievable. I don't think it gets the credit that it deserves, especially in Scotland. For years and years, they've produced some really good young, talented players, either from England on loan or actual Scottish players coming through. And I think you see a lot of players that are underrated in Scotland and come down to England and have an unbelievable career. You only got to look at Andy Robertson, the left back for Liverpool. And in Scotland, no one would have really looked at him too much, and then he's worked hard and got a few decent moves down to England, and he's fulfilled his potential massively. And I think that's the same with a lot of players like John McGinn at Aston Villa, and there's a lot of young Scottish players coming through that are really, they consistently produce some good players, some really good players.
Since you have played in both the countries, if you had to pick out one similarity between the two, what would that be, between playing in England and playing in Scotland?
Just the mentality of winning. For a footballer and every fan, winning's the most important thing. Sometimes you want to play nice football or attractive football, but at the end of a game, you want to win. And that's what I learnt most about being in Scotland when I was so young, that winning really, really matters to everyone, not just the players or the manager, but the staff in the stadium and all of the fans. I think up there's a real passion for winning, and they really get behind you when you're doing well. But you don't have to play the most attractive football as long as you show your commitment is 100% and you're trying to get the best result.
Of course, and again, moving back to your personal self, are you a very vocal goalkeeper?
Yes, very. Yeah, don't shut up. I like it. It helps me concentrate during a game. Especially, it's almost like you run a commentary and you're telling everyone what to do, and it helps you focus on what is happening around you and to stop potential attacks from the opposition. It helps you because if you're organising your defence from one side, when the ball's coming in, it helps you get them into position to help you, for me to do as little work as possible, and that's just by talking.
Of course, and I wanted to ask you, you have been in the game for quite a while now. how has the demands on a goalkeeper changed over the time?
I think goalkeepers have got a lot fitter from what I've noticed. There's a lot more demands, like you said, on playing out from the back and being better with your feet. But the actual, from when I was a kid, everyone wanted to put the fat guy in goal. But that's changed now. I think you see all the goalkeepers now are finely tuned athletes. And I've had to work really hard to make sure that now I'm 33 to stay as fit as I possibly can.
Of course, and of course, you're looking for a new club now. But I wanted to ask you this: when you hang up your boots, do you plan into getting into coaching?
Yes, definitely. I love football. I think we all do, and everyone that's played the game before, they all want to stay in the game in some capacity. So, yeah, I've started doing some of my badges, and it's something that I definitely would love to do. I feel like I've got a lot to offer. I also quite like the off-the-field side of it, to help the day-to-day running of recruitment and scouting. I'd love to do something to do with that as well.
Of course, I want to ask you this. This is a question which has been bugging me for a while, and like you said, you are 33 now, and you're looking for a new club. And how much has the pandemic affected your decisions or your choices?
Yeah, it's massively affected. I've had quite a few offers in the UK to play for some teams now, but obviously the financial implications of that hasn't been very good in the UK. That budgets have been cut and salary caps are now coming in, so it's played a massive part. And there's a lot of players out of contract still looking for clubs, and teams can't afford to sign loads and loads of players anymore. I mean, the squads in England now will be about 20 players that will be over 21 years old. So I think the size of teams have gone a lot smaller. So, and also what I've been speaking to a lot of clubs now, they want to sign young players that are resaleable because of the financial implications. They would rather take a risk on a young goalkeeper and maybe be able to sell him in a year's time, 2 years' time, because of the financial, they can make some money off it. Where obviously being an experienced goalkeeper, it's different because they don't see you as a saleable asset, but you can add a lot to the team in helping them for promotions or stopping relegations, which is, it's a very different one for me to see. I think this year I've noticed a lot.
Of course, and I wanted to ask you this thing, you said they are looking for young goalkeepers, and you are in your early 30s, and which is probably very young for a goalkeeper, at least what I hear as a outsider. I do not know what it is. You can correct me if I'm wrong. Or is it only that few goalkeepers play to their 40s, or is it generally 33 is a young age for a goalkeeper?
I would say 33 is coming into your prime. I said this to someone before, that Edwin van der Sar signed for Man United at 33 and played till 39, and he won a Champions League, he won the Premiership 3 times. So by no means is 33 old for a goalkeeper. It's still quite young. And I found that when I was younger, it was hard to get games because managers don't trust you because you have no experience, where obviously as you get older, you play more games and you get more experience. So a goalkeeper's career really starts 5 years after an outfield player, because you're in and around the dressing room trying to get experience and used to the first team environment, where an outfield player can, at 17, sit on the bench and come on for 10 minutes and get experience then, where a goalkeeper can sit on the bench for years and years and years, and it takes a long time to get that experience.
Of course, and the next one I wanted to ask you is, ideally, till what age do you see yourself playing football?
Well, you said the magic number. I think if I can get to 39, 40, I'd love that. I feel really good in myself and fit and able, and I still feel like I've got a lot of games left to play. Like I said to you, I've missed a few through injury, but I still feel like I can play for the next 5, 6 years, 7 years easily. So hopefully, if I get a club soon, that will be the case.
So of course, since you have largely played in England and Scotland, so that's generally in the UK, and it's you said you're looking for offers from all over the world. How difficult is it for you to consider an offer that is outside of your general territory that you have been in?
Yeah, it's obviously difficult, and there's a lot of things to think about, but it's an experience in life that I would love to try. Like you said, I've played in England and Scotland, and I've had a good career here, and I'd like to see what it's like elsewhere. And that's part of the reason I've turned down some of the contract offers, because of some of the teams I'm talking to in other countries, is because I'd love to experience something like that.
Definitely. And the next question probably will put you in a little bit of a problem. And you have played for quite a big clubs and quite a lot of good clubs. But if you had to choose one where you enjoyed the time the most, which one would that be?
It's difficult, that, because I spent a lot of time at Sheffield United, which was a great club, but we wasn't that successful. We had some very good cup runs, and we just missed out in the league a few times. But at Bolton, when I went there, we was in League One. We got promoted that year, and the team spirit in the dressing room was unbelievable. And to get promoted at the end of it was amazing.
Of course, and one answer that you gave, how the goalkeepers have evolved with time. You said when you were starting out, they would just put the fat kid in the goalpost. On a personal note, did you always want to be a keeper, or what was it like? Because no one wants to be a keeper, when you start. Everyone wants to score the goal. Even now, the major limelight is given to the goal scorers, not even defenders. So did you always want to be a goalkeeper?
Of course. No, not really. I used to play out in field when I was young for my team, my Sunday League team. And it was just, it happened by accident, really, that our goalkeeper left. And I was playing, because I've always been quite tall, that I was playing a couple of years up with my brother. So then the goalkeeper left for that team, and no one wanted to go in goal. And because I was tall, even for being 2 years younger than everyone, I said, I'll give it a go. And I went in goal, and I loved the aspect of just getting dirty, throwing yourself on the ground. And the goalkeeper always gets hurt, but you never show it in your face or your emotions. And I really enjoyed that. And I still, to this day, that the goalkeepers are a lot tougher than people think. They don't dive under a tackle, so we like getting hurt and getting muddy, and I've always enjoyed that aspect. And ever since I was, I think, 7 years old, I started playing in goal. I've just absolutely loved it.
Of course. And did you look up to any particular goalkeeper when you were growing up?
Yeah, obviously David Seaman, when he was at Arsenal, was a massive influence, and Peter Schmeichel at the same time. But I would say that Edwin van der Sar and Gianluigi Buffon, they were two of my favourite goalkeepers ever. They were so calm that that's something that I've always tried to have in my game, is just they use class, and they're very calm and reassuring, and they don't make things look difficult. They make everything look very easy. So that's something that I've always tried to do, to copy them.
Of course. And in your career, if you had to choose one moment where you felt the most proud, which one would that be?
Promotion, yeah. When I got promoted with Bolton then, or at Sheffield United when we played at Wembley in the semi-final of the FA Cup. It was an amazing achievement to even get there, because we were in League One and we'd played against a lot of Premiership teams to get there. So to play at Wembley is every footballer's dream in England, to play where your country plays.
So is it just like a cultural thing that is ingrained from when you were small?
Yeah, definitely. We grow up in England watching football a lot, and the FA Cup is very special because every team in England is part of it, even down to non-league teams. So everybody, they play in cup rounds. I think they'll start soon, and it feels like they televise all the FA Cup games, and it's something that every kid watches. They want to see the best teams in England play against some of the smallest teams, and it captures your imagination as a fan. So for me to play in the FA Cup and get to play at Wembley through that, it was amazing.
Of course. And I wanted to ask you something regarding the FA Cup. Do you think that it has lost its charm these days?
No, never. I think a lot of people in England, we have a lot of games now, so you're talking 50, 60 games every season. So because there's more teams in each league, and there's also 3 cup competitions that everyone plays in, and then the Premiership, they now play at the highest level, which is international and in Europe as well. So they play even more games. So, which is the thing that I think maybe some people would say is lost. But for the teams that don't play in Europe, the FA Cup is so special.
Of course, and I have seen like many footballers come out and say like how they grew up watching the FA Cup, and that meant a lot to them. And again, in contrast, some of the foreign players who come to England, they would prioritize something like a Europa League because they have connection with that more than the FA Cup.
Of course, yeah. So in England, the biggest cup competition that I've played in ever is that. So for me, it's like I used to watch it as a child, like you said, and it's so special because you could play against the best teams and the smallest teams from one round to another, which is amazing.
Of course, and that's the beauty of the cup. Like I think they say that, and going ahead, and since you have so much experience under your belt, and if you had to give a piece of advice to a young goalkeeper or general player starting out, what advice would you give that player?
You just work hard. It's so simple, but don't give up and work hard. You just keep working hard, and if you have talent and you can be coached, you'll go far. But the primary thing is to work hard and enjoy it. You have to enjoy it. If you don't enjoy it, you won't do it at the end of the day, or you won't want to be successful. And the more that you enjoy it, the more that you get that thrill out of it to keep you working hard and keep pushing. Even if you have knockbacks and football's full of highs and lows. There's a lot more lows than highs. So as long as you can still see the light at the end of the tunnel and how good the sport is, it's amazing.
Of course, I wanted to ask you, like in hindsight, of course you can think of all like there's a light in the end of the tunnel, but suppose you have made a howler as a goalkeeper, how do you get through in the next game? Because there'll be a lot of pressure from the crowd who will want to put you off. How do you get through?
It's just a mentality thing. Every person makes mistakes, but the goalkeeper's mistakes are highlighted. So with experience, you learn to deal with that more. When I was young, it played on my mind a lot. But as you get older, you learn to cope with it. And I think for me especially, it worked as soon as I had children, because I couldn't go home and worry about football. I had to go home and be a dad. So my kids helped me massively to reconcentrate, and then after I'd training the next time, you'd go back in and you think, right, I'll put this right now. I've gone home, I've had time to be dad, and now I'm back to work. And I think that really helped me in my career.
Of course, and on that note, I'll ask you one final question, and it's quite a controversial one. If you had to choose one of these two, whom would you choose, Ronaldo or Messi?
I like Ronaldo. I think what he has achieved out of his body, and at 35 to still be doing what he is doing, is unbelievable. Lionel Messi is an unbelievable talent, but for me, Ronaldo has done it in different countries, and he's still 35 and scoring over 30 goals a season. There's been world-class players before him that have retired a lot earlier, and he's still doing it. So for me, it's him.
Of course, and on that note, Mark, thank you so much for talking to me, and I wish you all the best, and hope to see you soon on the ground with a new club, playing, and hope you go on to play past Edwin van der Sar, play till 50 maybe, and then go into coaching. And thank you once again for talking to me. Take care, stay safe, bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.